Hey, what's up, people? My name is Ike Love. I am creator and author of the blog, The Viable Alternative, which is an inspirational blog where I share the wisdom and insights gained on my path of becoming a greater, stronger version of myself. And if you want to read more on the site, you can click on the description in the window where you see the link for www.theviablealternative.com. So, last night I was out with this girl on a date. And her and I were talking about past dates and what guys do to screw things up. And it's funny. Well, first off, I just want to say that, I kind of didn't want this blog or this video blog to go in that direction, talking about dating, but, it had been in the back of my mind to talk about this. But anyway, in the conversation I had with her last night, she was talking about some past dates and what they did wrong and, bad dates. And so I then told her that I was actually rolling about in my head whether I should do a video about things guys do to screw their chances up with women. And I started listing some of the stuff that they do. And she was just like, I was spot on in everything I said, And so so I decided maybe I should do a video about this. Especially she sent me a text today asking me to list to name the list that she said last night. And I think it's utmost importance to this be said, because a lot of guys are just completely, utterly confused and do tons of boneheaded stuff that I think we assume to be common sense, but obviously is not common sense because a lot of guys do it. So I'm going to give you I'm going to list a number because I usually do, and I wind up either getting losing track or, just adding stuff to it. So anyway, things that guys do to screw up their chances with women. And the first step that I mentioned to her that it came first to mind, because I also have a lot of female friends that they tell me, is number one, when you flip out on a girl because she doesn't respond to your text. I know I'm laughing, it's funny. She doesn't respond to your text in a timely manner, or she doesn't respond to your voicemail, or she takes too long to respond to your text. And long is like a relative word because, if the dude's really psycho, if a girl doesn't respond in 5 seconds, he flips out. Other dudes will flip out if she doesn't respond in a day. I don't know. I think this should be common sense, but it isn't. But one of the dudes that do to make mistakes when they flip out when a woman doesn't respond to their text or voicemail in a timely manner. So, I don't know, man. It's just, I have friends and family and we just laugh at psycho stuff. And this is definitely psycho, First off, that's just number one, the biggest deal breaker you do when a woman, you text a girl. We all know that, we like a girl, we send her a text message and either she doesn't respond back or she responds back. You text her like in the afternoon, she'll respond back the next day, And your attempt in your mind, like, wow, what the hell? Why does she respond back? Does she doesn't like me, or what's going on, and this and that. And the sane guy, the socially adjusted guy will keep it to himself. You wonder why he shouldn't respond to my text, but he'll keep it to himself and be like, oh, that sucks or whatever, And he'll just be like, he'll move on. And the same guy also probably has other stuff to do, so he may forget about it, But the psycho guy will text back in 5 seconds or 10 minutes, or when she texts back the next day, like, F you, bitch, why the hell you think you're better than me? You cunt, blah, blah, blah. Why you respond to my text, man? You think you're too good for me? And the girl then thinks you're a psychopath and will never respond to your text ever again and be like, oh my gosh, thank goodness he's showing me his true colors now, not when he's like slamming my head against the wall when we're married or whatever, So, dudes, please. If a girl does not respond to your text and what you think is a timely matter, let it go. I mean, who cares? There's more life than that, Sometimes a woman gets busy. You would hope that she'll have a life of her own other than to just wait for your text. Maybe she has work or school or, just the business of life. You want to be a girl who has some stuff going on, not just cling to you. So maybe she can't get a response to a text, give you a response to a text at that time and gives you a response later that day or the next day. So what? Who cares? A woman does not owe you anything. She does not owe you a quick text. She does not owe you to respond to you in 5 seconds later. She doesn't even have to respond to your text. She do what the hell she wants. You don't own her, And I've noticed that some women, each person has their own pattern, their way of communicating. Some people like talking on the phone. Some people don't like talking on the phone. Some women take they take several hours to respond. Some women respond the next day. It depends on the woman, I knew a girl and she totally liked me several years back, and I just kind of got her pattern. I would text her one day, she would respond to me the next day, and that's just how it was, you know? Unless we were actually meeting up that day, I wouldn't really hear from her the next day, and that was fine. What I tend to do, I adjust my texting pattern in accordance to how I am treated over text, meaning treated, but how they respond to me. If they take 5 hours to respond, then I just lay back and I'll take 4 or 5 or 3 hours to respond back or whatever. It's like, go with the flow. Or, if she responds back in 10 minutes, then I may respond back in a similar time if I'm not busy. But if I'm busy, then I'm going to be the one that's going to be taking 5 hours to respond back. It should be a natural, organic thing. Dude, like, if you're going to flip out on a girl, like, not responding to your text in a timely manner, it first of all shows that you have no life, and you're sitting waiting around the phone waiting for a text to respond back, and your whole self-worth and self-esteem is incumbent upon her quickness in responding to the text. And if that's the case, dude, like, get a life. And if you don't have a life, pretend you have one. Pretend you're doing something else other than sitting in your mom's basement in your tidy whities whacking off the cartoon porn all day. Pretend you have something else going on so you're not flipping out when she's taking too long to respond to your text. Give me a break, dude. So yeah, dude, that's the number one, please. If she doesn't respond to your text, let it go. Also, sometimes she doesn't respond to your text. She's not really into you. She doesn't like you. She's not into you, and that's fine. That should be fine. She doesn't have to like you. It's reality. Some women will like you, some women won't. What are you gonna do? Yell at reality for being reality? It's like, this pen here is blue. It's like me yelling this pen for being red, not blue. Why are you blue? Why are you blue? Why are you not red? And how crazy do I look right now doing that? I look like an idiot. That's how you look like when, you're yelling at a woman for not responding to text in a timely manner. Now, I'm spending too long at this point. There's a caveat to this. If you're in a relationship together and you're talking about something very, very important that's very urgent, and she's like not responding to the text or whatever, then you have a time, it should be the right time for you to bring it up to her. Or if you are to meet somewhere and maybe she's running late and you have a reservation somewhere, and she texts you saying, I'll be here in 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes past, she shouldn't be there, and you have a reservation, you may text her, well, what's your ETA, or estimated time arrival, and she doesn't respond to that. Then you can say, hello, because that's your time. Then that's different when you have a set date and she's impinging upon your time. And, if you find she doesn't respect your time, you may want to decide just go home and let her, come later and find you not there. But that's a whole different conversation. So that's number one. Number two, and I don't know, and this refers to online dating. And one of just the ways I just heard over and over again that guys ruin their chances is like sending pics of their junk. You know what they're called. I don't want to curse on this, but sending dick pics. I've talked to countless women from dating online. It wasn't until like 2012 that the whole thing clicked to me about the success of dating online and what to actually do and how to write a proper profile that communicates to women. But like when it did, the floodgates opened, and I used to get tons of like emails or whatever, a lot of emails basically, and I talked to tons of women, and I learned over talking to them over the course of time to now I expected is that so many women have experience of guys sending them dick pics. After the first exchange of conversation, she gives them a text message or whatever, or sends her a number, and he sends a text message sending a picture of his junk. And I'm just like, wow, are you serious? And like, even now when I talk to women online, I say to them, so all right, let me know, let me guess, how many guys will send you dick pics? And they're like, oh my gosh, like nine out of 10 women I've talked to online have said the guys are sending pictures of their junk online, and it's a complete utter turnoff. And for some other reason, the guy thinks that it's a cool thing to do. Probably because there was one time when he sent his dick pic and it got him laid. So now he thinks that that's the one trick pony he has. I just sent her a dick pic. Which is, again, that's kind of the equivalent of a guy. He goes in a street fight, he throws one haymaker punch, and he caught a guy and knocked the guy out. So now that's all he does. But each fight he goes in a haymaker punch, he gets knocked out. But he thinks back to that one time when it worked. And so he continues to throw the haymaker punch, not learning how to actually fight. And it's like, what men need to understand that men and women think differently. Men are visual, you find men looking at having porn mags or watching porn because men are more visual. And some women are visual, men are more visual. Women are emotional and mental. You have to stimulate their mind or reach their emotions to really actually, if you want a chance of turning them on. If you want a chance to get them attracted to you, you have to reach their emotions and everything. Sending a dick pic does not do that then, because again, women are not visual like most men, and therefore, not only do you turn them off, but you creep them out. You kind of come across as a creepy, rapey guy that friggin', you sends a picture of his junk that's totally uncalled for. You're having a normal conversation, you send a picture of junk. How crazy does that look? How stupid does that look? Like, I'll tell you, even if the woman, just say you're just all about sex. You send your junk, you're all about sex, you want to get laid. Even those women that are willing to sleep with you on the first night, on the first date, you will ruin your chances with her when you send her a dick pic. I tell you, there are several women I've slept with on the first date. And they told me when I was still talking to them on the phone that, in fact, a woman I met several weeks ago, she told me on the phone that guy sent her a dick pic and completely turned her off. She said, come on, it makes her uncomfortable, And plus, beyond that, it makes you look completely desperate, like you can't get laid at all and everything. And so, you have to understand, women are sexual beings. Women have told me a woman has her needs. So, dude, it's not like, they say the average time it takes for a couple to have sex is like the third date, I think 3 dates. So, dude, you're going to have sex with her, but you're guaranteeing yourself not to have sex with her if you're going to send her a dick pic. And you can't wait 3 dates? Are you that desperate? Think about it like this. You may say to me, yo, man, F that, man, I just want to get laid, man, I just want to blaze, man, F that, man, I want to take no girl out. But, dude, you are lessening your chances and wasting more time by sending dick pics, which are more likely the woman's not going to like, than going on a couple of dates. Go on a couple of dates, then you get laid. Maybe tell her on the date, yo, I'm not into a relationship. And then, whatever. But, dude, seriously again, if you haven't been laid in 60 years, at least pretend that you actually get women and everything like that. But, dude, stop sending dick pics. It doesn't work. And it's a complete and utter turnoff. And again, it makes you look thirsty, it makes you look desperate, and it creeps women out. So anyway, next number 3. Bragging about your job, your salary, your wealth, your possessions, your sexual conquest, or how well endowed you are. A girl told me that night, a guy was bragging about how well endowed he is, just basically bragging about what you have yourself. Dude, it just smacks of complete and utter insecurity, because really speaking, when you're bragging about yourself, what it comes across is you approval seeking the woman. And that's like, being around a turd in a room, and it smells and it just turns off. You want to leave the room. Well, when you are bragging about yourself, you reek in desperation. Desperation stinks. Who wants to be around that? Neediness stinks. If you have all these trappings of wealth and status and success, let it come up organically. For instance, now you're having a conversation with her, and maybe you're yawning and you're tired, and she's like, oh, wow, you're tired. Why are you tired? And you may say, oh, I just got back from London last night, and she may then ask, oh, what were you doing in London? You may say a business trip. Oh, what do you do for a living? What do you do for business and everything like that? And the conversation starts there. See, it comes up organically because you're speaking from a place of authenticity where you're talking, where you live in that life, so naturally it's going to come up. Or just say maybe, I don't know, I'm just giving a bizarre example here. Maybe you're a successful black dude, brother, and you drive an expensive Lamborghini. Let me get a little political here. And just say, maybe you were pulled over by the cops like 2 weeks ago because the cops saw you driving a fancy car and they didn't think it belonged to you. You may bring up a conversation with her. You're like, the other day I was pulled over by cops. They stopped me because they were telling me whether I own the car. And then she goes into it and he's like, you may be like, oh yeah, they didn't think the car was mine, that I stole the car. And she may ask, well, what kind of car it is? And you may say a Lamborghini. And she's like, a Lamborghini. And even if she doesn't ask further questions about that, she's going to start to think, oh, well, this guy's successful. And you again communicated that by just organically talking about your life. It comes up naturally. But when you start to just throw it out there about your wealth and status and accomplishments and your salary and stuff like that, and you own a house by the lake, you're throwing out bait, but you're not going to get back the good girls. You're going to get back the gold diggers, the woman that's just going to want you just for your money. And if you don't want a woman who wants you just for your money, don't start putting it out there. Put out yourself. Put out your qualities you have. And that's just going to come from you connecting with the woman and talking with her and having a normal conversation like a normal person. If she likes you, she's going to get to like the qualities and who and what you're about. And that's how you're going to connect. And these material possessions, if you're going to get a woman that's about the material possessions are temporal. What if you have like a bad business deal, you lose your job, you lose that? That woman's going to be out because that's what she came here for. But if a woman connects to you because of your qualities, and even if she finds out you're successful, but she looks at what made you successful, your ambition, your self-confidence, your determination, your perseverance, these are eternal qualities that she will fall in love with or like you for, not the material possessions. Remember that whole meltdown that Mel Gibson had, like I think it was back in 2012, where they had the tapes of him and his I think his Russian girlfriend. She was like an ex-model, and she's just sounding like a complete psychopath. He was telling her, yeah, don't bend over that dress. You can see your pussy through the back, and just other psychoness like that, And the girl herself was saying, well, he was saying to her, oh, you just want me for your money. You just use me for your money and blah, blah, for my money and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, you control my life, and, I don't do anything, you control me with money and blah, blah, blah. But, look at that scenario. He probably met her because he probably flashed money in front of her. So he got that type of girl. And she probably was looking for a type of guy with money. So then they both got each other. One guy suspicious, one part of the relationship suspicious of her, or him being suspicious of her because, he feels she only wants him his money, and her being resentful for him because he controls her the money, but that's initially what she wanted initially. I mean, I couldn't pull her. I mean, look around when I live, I'm not going to pull her with this because she's not looking for that. She's looking for someone with money. And so you get what you reap, what you sow. So, yeah, I mean, just like, stop thinking that you're all about your possessions and your accomplishment, and stop focusing on your internal qualities you have and use that to attract a woman. Because that other stuff you do just reeks of desperation, and it's a huge turnoff, So stop this nonsense right now, please, dude. Anyway, next thing, what guys do to screw things up is when a woman asks you, all right, so what are we doing today? He's like, oh, honey, whatever you want to do. And let me tell you something, dude. That's just the biggest, weakest thing a guy can do to a woman. And, I'm not being chauvinistic. Woman, tell me this. Basically speaking, there's a masculine and a feminine. In a relationship, a feminine woman wants to be in her feminine, and she wants the guy to be in his masculine. What's feminine and masculine? Feminine is more about the flow, going with the flow, and submitting, and the masculine is about leading and breaking through stuff, and going forward, accomplishing. That's the masculine. And so many women, when they're with a guy, I mean, all right, we're all about a balance. We have a feminine part of us, and we have a masculine. There's a masculine, feminine part to each of us. But in most relationships, women like it, and they told me themselves, where the man is a masculine and the woman is a feminine. So when you are now telling your girlfriend, no, honey, whatever it is you want to do, you're now making her take the masculine role, and she necessarily does not want to do that. Especially women these days who are in high corporate positions, or maybe they run their own businesses. And they tell people what to do all day, and they're in their masculine. They don't want to come home to a guy now, a weak guy who is afraid to take control and be assertive. They want a guy who sets the plan, and they show up and look pretty and go with the plan. Now, within that context, maybe make a plan. She may not like something of the plan, and it's incumbent on you to not change it. Maybe you have a plan to go to a restaurant. I remember an experience a couple years ago. I met up with a friend of mine that I used to date, and we went to a restaurant. And I was like, yeah, we'll go to this Indian restaurant. She's like, I don't like Indian food. It's too heavy, blah, blah, blah. So, all right, I chose another restaurant, I mean, it's flexibility. But the point of the matter is that, yes, and several women have said this, they just want to show up and look pretty. The guy to be in control and to have everything set up and ready to go, all right? A man is masculine. Because when you show or you say stuff like, oh, honey, whatever you want to do, it shows you can't lead. It shows she has to take the masculine. And a lot of women don't feel comfortable in a masculine relationship. Yeah, sure, many times she may have to take it, due to the dynamics of the relationship. But for the most part, woman wants to be in a feminine. And again, I've talked to women, so I'm not being chauvinistic, and they've physically told me this. And they've told me the cases. Women even I've dated said to me, guys that they've been out in the past, that they never gave a second chance because the guy was weak and unassertive. Within that, a woman wants a guy to be in control, but not controlling. You don't want to be a controlling prick who basically tells her jump and expects her to say how high, or control every waking moment of her life. She wants a guy who's dominant, not domineering, who basically, again, tries to dominate over her and, act like her daddy. No, she wants a assertive, confident, in control, dominant guy who is willing and able to lead. And if you're saying stuff like that, you're showing her you can't do that, and she doesn't want any type of piece of you unless she's a woman that likes being masculine and likes to lead, and that's a whole different story, but it's beyond the scope of this. So anyway, all right. I don't even know how many steps I did now. I completely lost track because I talked so much in this. But the next thing, oh my lord, what was this other thing I was going to say? Oh, yes. Another huge thing, like the way guys screw things up, is talking bad about their exes. Now, there are people who I've heard, I knock on wood that I've never really had a hugely bad experience with a psychopath, and I really am happy about that, and God forbid that ever happens to me. But I've heard some really horrid stories, you know? Stories of women pretending they were pregnant to keep the man. Stories of women pretending they had a disease so their husband will leave them. I mean, just psychoness like that. Or I had a friend whose ex broke a wine bottle over his head one time. I mean, you know, just psychoness, you know. And the guy himself, I told him not to be with the leave her years ago, and he yelled at me, told me I didn't know what to talk about. So years later that happened, and basically speaking, I just was like, I told you so. So yeah. Now, so just say you've been in relations like that. Maybe you've been in a number of relations like that, and now you're out with the woman. You just first met her, and she's asking you about your relationship past. Do not talk bad about your ex, even if she was the most horrid person in the world. You know, in the beginning of the thing, you do not want to talk bad about your ex. Just be diplomatic, because if you talk bad about your ex in such an extreme way, the woman's going to start to think, number one, wow, there's two sides to every story. If she was so bad, I wonder what he did in this situation. I'm curious about her side of the story. He's probably not an angel either. You know, you kind of like provoke that thought process to her when you go ham on your ex-girlfriend. Or she starts to think to yourself, like, if this girl is so psycho, why was he with her? And especially if you tell her a stream of psycho girls and you talk bad about all of them, about how horrible bitches they were. I mean, you know, she starts to think like, you know, wow, this guy attracts psycho girls. What about this guy attracts psycho girls? That's a red flag. I don't want to be with a guy like this. Also, she's thinking, if he's talking bad about his ex, will he talk bad about me like that one day? And if that's the case, I don't want to be with this guy. This guy sounds negative. So if your ex was a horrible person, maybe she killed your cat because or kidnapped it and sent pieces of its body in the mail. I mean, people are sick. Be diplomatic. Just say, yeah, you know, it didn't work out. It didn't work out, and I really liked her. I loved her, but it didn't work out. I wanted to try and make it work out, and I wish her the best, and I hope she's happy. You know, or maybe she had a lot of issues, and I tried to help her, and I realized that I can't save anybody but myself, and I really wish her the best. Now, she may know from your description of your story that you're hiding or pulling back. There's more to it, but she'll respect you for the fact of being diplomatic about the person and realize and see that you're actually a fair-minded person, that you don't try and cast the blame on the other person, even if the person may hold the blame, bear the brunt of the blame. So, yeah. Now, you do not want to sit back and talk bad about your ex, even if she's a horrible person. Just be diplomatic. There's plenty of time for that when you guys get in a relationship now, and maybe now you're closer, and maybe you go more in depth about what this person's about, But in the beginning, just let it be. Don't do that. It's just, not really productive. Man. And the last step I have to say, and it's kind of like should be a common sense thing, and I'm not going to spend too long on this, but basically speaking, when you go out with a woman, don't be rude to the higher help. I mean, if you're rude to the bartender or the waiter or the waitress in a coffee shop, or just people in general, she's gonna think you're a douchebag. And not only that, she's gonna think that if you're treating those people like that, then one day you're gonna treat her like that. And also, women look for a lot of clues as to how you're going to be treating her, and a lot of if they don't know much about you yet, they're going to take clues from how you treat other people. So beware of how you treat other people. Beware of how you treat the higher help, and just don't be a douchebag. Be polite and cordial. Treat people how you want to be treated. So yeah. Also, what I will say about that is, if the hired help is rude to your date or your girl or your date, if you're rude to your date, then you may want to stand up for her, but don't go ham and break a bottle in half and stab him with it or flip over the table and everything like that. I mean, if he's being rude, you may want to say something like, yo, dude, don't, call him out on it or something like that, especially if he expects a tip from you, But in general speaking, I don't really think you're gonna run into that, but it happens. But in the general speaking, yeah, be polite to people. That it doesn't hurt. Don't lose anything for that. So yeah, hope all this helped. This went longer than I wanted, but I just really had to explain this because it just needs explanation. If you want to read more on my site, go to www.theviablealternative.com. You can follow me on Twitter, TheViableAlt. All this work helps. But yeah, please pay heed to this because I realize a lot of people, hey, all this stuff should be common sense, but common sense isn't common. And there was a time when I didn't know crap. When I was 19 or 18 years old, not that I did any of these things here, but I was just freaking stupid myself. I was clueless about women. And what was common to other people wasn't common to me. I had to learn. So take this as a lesson. Go out with it. Be successful in your dating life and just stop doing these things, okay? Take care. God bless and peace.